All right. So my name's Poojan Naik. I think most of you know. Now, before I actually, start off with my presentation, I would actually like to ask a few things to all of you here, and some of you might have been wondering about these questions also. For at least some part of your life, if not today, then tomorrow you might contemplate upon this. But still, so what if I really said that you guys can improve your memory, you can become better people person, improve your relationships, and I know you want to do that part very well. And what if I say that you can be a creative person, but at the price that is less than that of the pair of jeans that you're wearing right now, or even the food or the amount of money you spend in bars on weekends. But I think the cue is there in the title itself, and the answer is pretty simple. It's books. Okay, so as we go on now, let me just tell you something about myself. You guys might probably be knowing this, but still. So I was actually born in the town of Surat, and I'm a Gujarati, a very typical Gujarati. Although I may not show signs of it, but I am. Yes. Okay. And this border is actually very important, and I'll show you why also it's important along the lines. So in 2005, my mother actually decided, who was teaming up with life and had nothing to do with her in her, like I was there, but she really wanted something else also on the sidelines. So she decided to do a job at the Kavi Naibat Library Center. Now that is a city library. It looks good right now, but trust me, it was a museum back then, worse than the books that those are there in there. And at the same time, my sister came along. So my father, who was already having a good income, decided that he needed extra money on the sidelines. And much like most of the Gujaratis out there, he had a very typical idea, that was that we are going to have a business in the house. A typical Gujju thing, can't deny. And even the business he chose was of a printing press. So somewhere along the lines, I don't know how, but somebody had decided that my life was to revolve around papers. It still does, even though I'm in IT, and it's I think it's going to be a long journey. So uh, when I was in Surat, I have spent at least the first 17 years of my life literally confined within those state borders. I'm not kidding about that also. Because whenever we had vacations, most people think that Singapore, Goa, Fiji, Europe, they think of all these travel destinations. What my family saw was money, 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 money everywhere. Typical thing. Okay, it's business after all. You don't have vacations. So my life was literally confined within this state. And whenever Amitabh Bachchan used to come on TV and say, "Kuch din to guzaro Gujarat mein," not my favorite line. I'm not kidding there. I did not like it at all. So my friends actually, as a child, used to travel to a lot of different parts of the world, and they would show me pictures also of safaris and all. And I used to be confined in this, but that was not entirely the case also. So as a child, my mother actually encouraged me to read books. And here I am also not going to do the same to you guys. Let me just re-emphasize that. I'm not going to say that you have to read books and all. This is actually my journey with books, my life through the pages that I have read. And that's what I'm sharing with you right now also. An experience. If you like it, good. If you don't, well, not my loss at all. Okay. So as a child, believe me or not, I started with something very simple. I think you guys already know this name. It's a very pretty familiar name. Goes along lines of all the things that you have read. Tintin was a journalist, and the funny thing or the quirky thing about him was that he traveled the world. He had gone into the seas, underwater. He had gone into space. He had gone into Europe. He had gone into Asia, everywhere, you name it. And trust me, because I started reading Tintin, I have also traveled those places. At least as a 6-year-old child, I could brag that, okay, what life could be on space, or it could be in underwater, or how it might feel to, sit inside a submarine, thousands of water deep, and looking at a treasure, but you just can't touch it. And that was pretty amazing for me. And at the same time, I also came across Asterix. Now, this is something that not many people know about, but the story is pretty simple for Asterix also. It was that, around the when the Roman Empire was getting built, and Julius Caesar, who many of us know today, after whom the month of July is also named, he was on the verge of conquering the whole world, and apparently only one single village was making it hard for him. One single village resisted, and you might be thinking that it might be hard for those villagers to live in that village, but actually it was pretty hard for the Romans themselves to live across those villages. Okay, so as a child, I had not only traveled back to the past and seen, okay, what the Gaelic wars were, and trust me, this came from a very childhood experience, but it was very lifelike to me. And in those senses, I had actually traveled a lot, and I had seen a lot also. So I was, in a way, I could say that I had, traveled a lot of places without actually traveling anywhere. And even my dad used to wonder how. He still wonders how, but I think somewhere along the lines he may also get it. The next I started, and this one is actually pretty famous. I think everybody here knows Harry Potter, the boy who lived, or you all have seen the movies. I think 8 movies, and I think I don't know how many more they will make, but up to the 9. Okay, so more money coming in for them, regardless. So as a teenager, I used to be somebody who was actually thinking that I want to do science. Now, this seems pretty awkward because by my 10th grade, I had hated science. But as a child, I always wondered that I want to be a scientist and stuff. I want to look at stuff, very practically. But then this book came along, and I could never really wonder that, a boy with his luggage ramming into a railway station column and traveling to some other part of the world. Quite frankly, if I could show the image of the Indian railway station, you know what I'm talking about. The column is so thin that, let alone the baggage, I even won't go through that. So, but regardless, to actually live in the footsteps of a child who had been, living alone for such a long time and had hard time developing friends, this book was particularly amazing for me. Not only, I realized that there can be a lot of magic in life. I mean, I used to sit on my mom's charu, and I used to wish that somewhere along the lines it might just fly. And but yeah, that was never going to be the case, regardless. But it helped a lot. And just this is a small tip sort of thing or a fact. I never prepared for my English paper, and all of the credit goes to this, because everybody used to mug stuff up. I just read this book and the series along with this, a lot of other books that go along. And I actually never prepared for the English paper. So I used to play cricket, and they used to study and mug up the guides as it is. Now, this book right here, I'm again not sure how many of you are familiar with this one. This is a lesser known. You might know the movie, and you might know the movie star, more importantly. And I can see a lot of eyes already right now going towards her, but I would like to bring you back to the book that is there. Okay. So, as somebody who was a teenager, and I was an introvert until my 10th grade, like many of you, at least a lot of guys in the crowd, I had not talked to a girl till my 10th grade. The max I had said was hi, hello, thank you, bye bye. And that was the end of it. As a child, I was pretty silent. It is not the case right now, because many of you might see me screaming around at the TT table or his wall table also. But that was the case earlier. Okay. So, the perks of being a wallflower is actually about a child who introspects his introversion. He talks in depth about how he is an introverted child, and how he actually bloomed into what you can say, what the term is, a wallflower, or somebody who became an open-minded person. Right at that time, trust me, thanks to this book, I actually got a chance to talk to the girl I liked, because she was also reading the same book apparently. So for the first time, I spoke more than 4 words to a girl. She laughed, I laughed, and then I really I really enjoyed the text of the year that was there. But and see, that's why I say that books will really help you become a better person. You just have to find the right person with the right book, maybe. So, but yes, and actually, ever since then, I have been able to come out in public. I have been able to speak the way I'm speaking to you guys right now, and it really was a different thing for me. Now, one of the things that actually, you might think that okay, this all is good. It's all humor and stuff, and it seems nice to hear to these things also. But trust me when I say this, books have actually helped me a lot in other aspects of life also. It's not just about wondering what magic can be or how human lives can be. But there's also a thing that you get non-fiction books, you get fiction books, you get to learn a lot because you see your teachers hammering down that you have to mug up the history book and all. I'm not that sort of a person, but I'll say this that there's a quote out there: the older the problem that there is in the world, the older is the solution, basically. So when you think of new things that taxes, or you think of how can you save money before the IRS, the the what, not IRS, Indian Tax Department comes, or how to ride a car maybe, or how to cook. New problems. There are books, there are videos. Okay. When you think of older problems, how can you stay motivated in life, or how can you actually find its meanings? You will see that there are actually older solutions. You don't actually have to find something new out there like a lot of people are doing. And in those terms, actually, this final book helped me a lot. And yes, I have read this. I was an atheist until my 12th grade, until I read this. I was an atheist even in my college days, although those things also changed around. But the impact that this book had on me was terrific. I mean, it can be described in words. And the simple reason being that as a child, I was not very serious about a lot of things in life. And I used to take a lot of things as a joke, or, it's something that will just pass away. And to be honest, I was never really serious about what I want to do, or, how I actually want to behave. But with this book, I had a perspective on life that I have never had. It's the sort of perspective that many a times you get when you travel to a place and you start contemplating everything that is there. This was an experience that was 100 times that. And to be honest, I think I'm going to be concluding pretty quickly. But that's the thing, and I'm not even asking you that you should read this book. You can find other books also of similar taste. I just found this one to be the most impactful in my life. Now, before I sign off, actually, and this is going to be pretty short also again, this is a fairly small amount of books that I can only show to you guys. And again, I have a library back at home that speaks something else entirely. I'll only ask you guys, and because it seems difficult, you pick up a book and you say that okay, 1,000 pages with no pictures in it. I mean, how can I even visualize that? Start with a comic book. Read one page per day. Trust me, you will find it integrating. Read anything that you like. You can even start with newspaper. You can just read that. Okay, what scam did what politician do, or how many runs were scored in a match by this person? What records were broken? Anything you like. Reading is actually going to help you a lot because, and I am contradicting my own words, but I'll ask you to read is because there have been several studies on this thing, more than tons of them, and they actually show that how your neurons grow as you read. They don't deprecate, and maybe you might remember that in the long term if you start reading now, maybe. But yeah, I really hope that you guys find a book in your life. Thank you.